purpose of this live video tonight is if you are a pianist and you have questions about what I'm doing or what you'd like to see me do, please ask, because that's what this is for. This is more like a tutorial. So like if you want to say, wait, what did she just do right there? Can you slow that down and show me the arpeggio again? Then I'll go back and replay it in a little bit slower motion. We've gotten some questions about like, what am I doing with my left hand? And how does my right hand do more than just the melody? How do you add things in? How can you make better fill-ins? So if you have questions like that, this is a great time to ask it, and I'll answer everything you've got.
One said, I can read music. What's the best advice for me to improvise like you do?
Listen to a lot of music, and if you already read music, then play sacred arrangements. Soundforth publishers out of Greenville, South Carolina, Bible Truth Music, I think they're somewhere in Virginia. They're both two really good music publishers that publish sacred arrangement books. So like you will hear them being played kind of like I play them, but like they're already set to sheet music. So then you get good ideas from other arrangers, and I've gotten tons of ideas from sacred arrangements of things that I can add into my congregational playing. And when you've played a lot of arrangements, you don't have to have the music to remember, oh, what did I do the last time? You know, I've played different arrangements of a song, and then that'll come into the way I play it congregationally.
Someone asked, how do you do the arpeggio?
Okay. Like, most of my arpeggios, I double the top note and overlap it with the bottom note of the next arpeggio. So, like, in the key of F, it would be like... So your fingering is 1, 2, 3, 5, 1, 2, 3, 5, 1, 2, 3, 5. So then when you do that fast, it's... And then, like, if you add that G in there, it can sound really pretty. Like, that's what you're adding. So then... So you just practice doing it over and again. You don't have to double the top note. A lot of pianists don't. You can go... You can do it smoothly like that, or let that top note kind of overlap. I tend to do that the most often. Not really even sure why. So you time it. How many beats do you have? How many beats do you need to fill? And then that's how fast or slow you need to do it. And you can do it in any of them, like any arpeggio. You find the 3 notes of the chord that you're playing, and then that's the 3 that are going to basically repeat all the way up the keyboard if you're doing it with your right hand. So like if I'm on an E flat, I'm probably going to use B flats as my starter and have my E flat and G on fingers 2 and 4. So then it would be like... Or if I want to add that F in there to make it sound a little more flowy, that's what it's going to sound like. You know, and you can do it in every key. But if like I'm doing an F arpeggio, I'm probably going to be starting on C and then go to the F, A, C, C, F, A, C. I'm not going to, I don't know, I guess there's times I would start on the F. Like that. But the key is practicing it over and over in slow motion and then gradually getting faster. The slower you practice, the faster you'll learn. That's really true.
Okay.
Let me try to do one that has a lot of arpeggios. Okay. left hand, you're basically doing slower arpeggios leaving out some of the notes. Instead of like always having just an octave chord sound, which is what a lot of basic church pianists do, and that's a really solid sound. There's nothing wrong with that. But you can start trying to find ways to change that up a little bit by making your left hand do more rolling patterns instead of just always octave chord. So
Someone said, how often did and do you practice?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't practice enough, that's for sure. Growing up, I practiced anywhere from 1 to 2 hours a day. In high school, it was usually closer to 2 hours because I was preparing for competitions. But once I've now focused more on church music, I practice when I need to learn a new song. So, it depends on how long it takes me to learn it. I would practice all day if I could.
Someone said, when playing out of the hymnal, what's the best thing to do to make it more than the few chords that are written?
Oh, probably my favorite question for all hymn playing. All right. Can you look at this here? All right. This is "'Tis So Sweet to Trust in Jesus." I picked this because it's right here in this book. Let me turn this on. Okay. So you've got your soprano, alto, tenor, and bass. The first thing is octave your bass note and put the tenor note in your right hand. So like if I'm on a G chord here, right? So I'm going to put that G up here in the treble clef. So I'm going to have that, and then I'm going to octave my bass. So already that takes it from to. Then the second thing is octave your melody. Or I guess that would be the third thing. Octave the melody. Once you put the tenor and the alto in the middle, you put your pinky and your thumb octaving the melody. Not every note, of course, but most of them. So then it goes from. And all I did there was I noticed that I'm going G, B, D. So I'm just going to connect them with eighth notes. G, A, B, C, D. And then it makes it sound a little more fluid. Okay, I have 2 beats to fill. And I'm on a D chord, and I'm going into a G chord. Well, with 2 beats, how many eighth notes are in 2 beats? 4 of them. If I'm going from D to G, I can go 3 and 4 and 1, and then I'm going to be right in time for that. So then I have. Okay. Sorry, I had that very close to the edge. Okay. You're looking for ways to connect. Like if I have octaves here, I'm looking for ways to connect it so it doesn't just sound like I'm playing the music. So that's why I went like, just to know the song. Don't add as many chords in the left hand as you'd think. A very good congregational pianist named Gina Sprunger told me a few years ago to try to do more with my left hand than just octave chord. And she said look for ways to connect the left hand. So that's why I would try to find more ways to connect it by octaves. And one thing she told me is called outlining the chord. So that means like if it's a G chord, the outline is G, B, D, G. So I could go. And then that's a really nice way. You can find fill-ins too, like. And then eventually you want to think outside of just like music theory things of octave the bass, octave the melody, put the parts in the middle, and you want to start thinking about the text. Like when you hit that 4th verse, I'm so glad I learned to trust him. You don't still want to be going. Like how can you make it bigger? Maybe move your right hand up, add some more chords in your left hand, change your left hand rhythm to where you maybe have more like a. up is because the end of that fourth verse says, and I know that thou art wilt be with me to the end. So he's talking about that Christ is still going to be with us when we're dying. So you don't have to stay big and bold when the text is different. Like, try to play the text. Think about what you're not just playing notes. Your job as a congregational pianist is to reflect the text through your music. So if I'm playing a verse about Christ coming, then I'm going to be doing a whole lot more than if I'm playing a verse about, like, does Jesus care when my heart is pained too deeply for mirth or song? I'm not going to be going all over the place. I'm going to be thinking, wow, yes, he cares. So I'm not going to be doing too much. Less is more. You need to think about the text while you're playing.
I do what you just did, but I want it to go more advanced now. But not how to advance it a lot more. Oops,
Did I answer your question, or is it
that
still...
was earlier. She said that answered my question.
Okay,
You're amazing.
good.
How long have you played? Sorry.
Let me think. I started official formal lessons when I was 5. So that's like 23 years? Something like that.
What's your top advice for beginners?
Top advice. Learn to read the music. Like, don't just think, I'm just going to listen to some good musicians and try to learn to play by ear. Like, if you are able to learn to read music and learn to play by ear, do both. The best, I know some really great pianists who just play by ear, and that is a wonderful skill. Like, it's super valuable to be able to play by ear. When you can read the music and you start making yourself learn to read the music, I think it gives you a little bit more rounded understanding of, like, the way chords work, and I don't know, I think it gives you a lot more depth to your playing. And it's not a criticism of people who just play by ear, because I also play by ear. I've also learned things from sheet music to incorporate into my ear training that I would never have been able to do